All right, peace and black power, everybody. I want to welcome you to another NCRBGZ Productions. Today we have a great topic. We should have some people coming in to chime in on the topic. Right now, it's me, Stuart Fields, the host. Y'all know who I am, and we're gonna discuss, a topic that's pertaining to currency. We're gonna talk about currency, the different forms of currency, what currency mean. Um, you know, the different types of currency as far as fiat and commodity back. And we're just going to talk about it from an African point of view. I have Ricky, the mansion, that's my partner up here. He going to help with the dialogue. So I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself to the family, speak to the family, introduce yourself, man, say hi to the family, fam.
Peace and blessings, family. Ricky the Master, Black member. Just out here trying to educate myself and others along the path. Peace.
All right, now with that being said, now we should have some people jumping in. We just gonna start the conversation, and as they come in, actually we might just have a little small talk for a couple minutes, just talk about some things that's going on while we wait on the rest of the family to get in. We give them until 6:10 to get in, and then at 6:10 we actually gonna start talking about currency. So, one of the hot topics, or one of the things that is going on today, is that Colin Kaepernick is having his trial, his workout. It's live on Facebook. I don't know. It's probably showing on TV, and and I just want to know what's your thoughts on it. When you watch this, put down in the chat what you think about Colin Kaepernick and the fact that he's having a workout. And do you think it's a big publicity stunt? Do you think it's something serious? Do you think it's real? Make sure you thumb up the video, like the video, thumb up the video, and subscribe to the page. Ricky, what you think about that Colin Kaepernick situation? What's going on today, bro?
Oh, man, I think it's just a big facade, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. Brother already done sued. We talked about it earlier. Brother done sued and got his money from the league. I don't see them giving him anything. They done blackballed him this long. I don't see them getting him anything. I think it's just like we was talking about earlier, man, just to get some of the black viewers back. They lost a lot of viewers and they blackballed Colin. And now they're trying to get that money back and get those ratings back. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I say, like Tariq Nasheed said, it's a bunch of nothing burgers.
Right.
Because it's like really, and the fact that they told the media in the middle of the week they announced this lets you know that it's a publicity stunt, man. They let the media
Right.
know that they're gonna have a major workout, so and then the media done leaked it, so they just building it up. And the fact that all this is going on, the fact that it's being built up, kind of like let you know, man. That I feel like it's nothing but smoke and mirrors. Also, there's something to give the NFL ratings, like Ricky said, just to get people talking about the NFL, get their name circulating. Because right now the NBA is off the charts. With LeBron going to LA and Kawhi going to the Clippers. It's like the NBA is just done took over. It's NFL
Oh,
season, and I'm watching NBA like I'm into the NBA right now. I'm full throttle with it. So, and then LeBron is doing some good things. I did read an article about LeBron. That school that he have now they're gonna have housing. So they have got
yeah,
like,
I read that as well.
yeah. Go ahead. You want to elaborate on that, Ricky?
Oh, I ain't mean to cut across your brother, but yeah, I just wanted to speak on it. Yeah, LeBron, he really embodies, what a black athlete is supposed to do. All because you're rich, you're still racially responsible. You're making sure that those who are less fortunate, you're still taking care, charity and just trying to provide options for people who don't have the same set of circumstances that he has. LeBron James get my utmost respect.
Yeah, that's peace, God. That's peace right there. And I agree with you, man, because the fact that they're gonna have them houses, man. affordable houses for the students. That says a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because a child that's going to school but don't have a steady home, it's kind of hard on that child to learn. You know, we can do it because you can't put nothing past us. You know, we as black people, you can't put nothing past us. You know, we can make the impossible out of we can make possible out of the impossible. But it's good that he's willing to not only fight but also put his money, you know what I'm saying, where his mouth is. Now, with that being said, bringing about money, the name of the topic for today's show is that we're going to talk about the question is, what is currency? That's something we will tackle today. We're going to talk about what is currency, what are the different forms of currency, what is the major difference between commodity money and fiat money. One question I have is, when did gold become the standard as forms of money? And is this African as far as gold being the standard, or did outsiders bring this concept to Africa? These are the 5 questions that we're talking about on today's show, and we're gonna discuss these, in detail. So before we get into the discussion, we have to always make sure we define the words and make sure that we all have the same understanding of what the word means, so then we can discuss it. So what I did was, I'm gonna share my screen, and what I did, I just Google searched the definition of currency. So let me share my screen and let me pull up what the definition of currency is. I hope y'all can all see this. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Ricky, are you able to see this, bro?
Yeah, I can see it perfect, man.
Okay, all right. So currency is it says it's a noun, and we're just gonna read the 2 definitions. A system of money in general use in a particular country. Example is, the dollar was a strong currency. That's interesting, by the way, that they use that as the example. The dollar was a strong currency. That's very interesting. The second definition, the fact or quality of being generally accepted or in use. Again, the fact or quality of being generally accepted or in use. The term gained currency during the second half of the 20th century. That's just an example of the second definition, right? So currency basically is a system of money in general use in a particular country, or the fact of quality of general being accepted or in use. So currency is what we exchange for goods and services. So now that we know what currency is, we're going to talk about, I'm going to read the definition of the different forms of currency, because we have different forms of currency. So what I want to do is, I'm going to read the different forms of currency. Hold on, let me stop screen sharing real fast. Look like we may got somebody coming in. I don't know, I heard the sound.
Brother, I think that was me. I was having a couple of technical difficulties. I had to re-enter the meeting.
Oh, okay, no problem, bro, no problem. Okay. All right, well, let me go back to share my screen. Let me see if I can find it again. All right, and what I was about to talk about was the different forms of currency. So we talked about what currency is, the definition of currency. So now I'm gonna talk about this says the top 8 most tradable currencies. So, you know, the US dollar is number 1. They're saying the European euro is number 2. The Japanese yen is number 3. The British pound, the Swiss franc, the Canadian dollar, the Australian New Zealand dollar, and the South African rand. These are tradable currencies. So you have currencies, which are forms of payment that people are willing to receive for goods. And then you have tradable currencies. So these are some different types of tradable currencies that we have. The dollar, euro, yen, pound, franc, dollar, you know, South African rand, and whatnot. So with that being said, we have a definition for currency. We have different different forms of currency. So now we're going to talk about the difference between fiat money or currency or commodity-backed currency. And this is when things start to get interesting on my point of view. Can you see what my screen shares, Ricky? Can you see this?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect, my man.
All right. So with commodity currency or commodity money, is money that derives its value from the substance or the potential use of the money itself. Commodity money is said to have intrinsic value. Fiat money is money that has its value due to decree and legislation by the government. Again, commodity money is money that derives its value from the substance or the potential use of the money itself. Commodity money or commodity currency is said to have intrinsic value. Now, fiat money or fiat currency is money that has its value due to decree and legislation by the government. So I'm gonna basically I'm gonna allow Ricky to elaborate on any point that I was talking about right now, just to make sure we're on the same page with the definition, which I know, but maybe it's something you want to add to what I said or anything.
You hit it right on the head, brother. You hit it right on the head, man.
Okay, that's perfect. So so with that being said, I guess let me stop sharing my screen. With that being said, I guess we can decide to start talking about the difference between fiat currency and commodity money. They said fiat money and commodity money. I just say fiat currency or commodity currency. So basically, we know in America that the American dollar is fiat currency because it's been decreed and the government has legislated it as the choice and the form of payment that we use in America. It's basically based off the dollar. So that's fiat currency. And at one time, hey Ricky, take over real fast. I got a phone call, bro.
All right.
I think somebody trying to get in.
All right. Well, to pick back up on what Brother Stu was saying, he was talking about the commodity-based currency and the fiat currency. And like he was saying, America and a few other European nations are actually based on fiat currency, meaning that the money has no value to it at all. And the only reason why you can even use it in stores is because, just like he stated in the definition, it's been legally ordained by the government to be used as a tender to represent something that really doesn't exist. Economics is kind of complicated, but that's fiat money. But commodity-based money is basically when you're using something that's actually worth something or that represents something. For instance, gold, which is a topic of concern today, pertaining to a lot of ancient African civilizations. Cowrie shells were used, cattle was used. Anything that people pertain to have value could be used as currency. It wasn't until the start of America and the birth of other European nations that this fiat currency came into play. Well, basically, they were saying that you could get something for nothing. Anybody with common sense knows that never works. So that's pretty much what's going on today. Brother Stu, he get everything together. I see he's back. Hopefully, he get everything together, and I'm gonna let him take over.
Okay, now that was just a call from one of the brothers, so we should have somebody joining the conversation real soon. But one time the American dollar was backed by gold.
Yes.
And it was, and I think one of the presidents changed it and went into notes. So now we have these treasury notes that, okay, I see we got a brother coming in right now. But we went from. Can you hear me, Eric? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you want to introduce yourself to the family, and I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what we did before you got here. What we did was we gave the definition of currency. So I pulled up Google currency, and I read the definition. Then after I read the definition of currency, I went to the different forms of currency. You got the dollar, you got the yen, you got different forms of currency. And then we went into I read the definition of fiat money or fiat currency versus commodity-backed currency or commodity currency. They call it fiat money and commodity money, but I just say fiat currency versus commodity currency. And what we're doing now, we're talking about the difference between fiat currency and commodity-backed currency. That's where we're at right now. We're just talking about the difference between fiat and commodity. So you can understand where we at. So I don't want you to, feel like you behind. I'm trying to get you caught up with us.
Okay. I got
you. You want to chime in and say hi to the family?
Peace. My name is Eric, and I'm joining in with this family here, and we just dropping some knowledge because me and this brother here been going at it for a while. So I'm ready. And pass the mic back on to you, bro.
But yeah, so like the brother Ricky was saying, it's just that with that commodity-based currency is backed, and fiat currency is not backed by anything. Fiat currency is basically what the currency that we have in America now is not backed by no resources, by no nothing. It ain't backed by nothing. It's just basically currency that we're using, and the fact that we all accept this currency, that's why it's the dominating currency. But at the end of the day, it ain't even worth the paper that it's printed on. Now, commodity-backed currency is backed by natural resources. It's backed by gold, silver, land. That's commodity-backed currency, and that's really the best currency to have. But right now we based off of fiat currency, and as we can see the situation that we're in right now, because whenever the economy is low, you have the Fed will print more money and put more money in circulation, and that in itself lets you know all they do is come up with more treasury notes, and they get the treasury notes, and then they print more currency. So that in itself should let you know that it's not backed by nothing. It's just basically they print money. Y'all want to add anything?
Nah, brother, you pretty much said everything that I would have said. Like you said, fiat money, they just producing the money out of thin air. It's not backed by anything, so it's worthless. I remember in school, they used to show us Holocaust movies. And during the Holocaust, the economy of Germany was so bad that people were actually burning the money of the German economy to stay warm. It was worthless. It was just paper. And if you, I can't remember the name of the movie, but if you can kind of imagine the scene that I'm painting, you can go to show. Just imagine you burning $100,000 or 200, 300 racks. You just burn it to keep warm because it's worth nothing. And that's kind of what the fiat currency is in a way. That's all I wanted to add, brother.
Eric, you want to add anything?
Well, it seemed like most of the things that y'all said, I might just add to it. I mean, our currency is losing value, and we need something that is going to keep us financially stable. Because if we hold on to this fiat currency, we're going to be in some bad shape if we ever go into a crisis. So my thing, you know, is I try to announce certain things to people about silver and gold. You know, we got to try to get to that silver and gold, you know what I'm saying, to keep us on stable grounds. Because just like I said, if the fiat currency goes to zero, then the only thing that we're going to have to go back on is probably gold or silver and this digital currency. That's the only thing that we're going to be able to live off in. And I guess until that digital currency dies out, then we'll just be dealing with gold and silver. But the digital currency is making a lot of money, so only thing I know right now, we're going to be dealing with at least that gold and silver and the digital currency. Peace.
Okay. That's, and also like we can look at Venezuela right now to see a country that currency is their currency. They right now they're burning, like what he said, they were burning currency. Where in Venezuela now they're using their currency to make things with the currency because it's not doing anything. So their money is worthless in Venezuela right now because it wasn't backed by none of the natural resources of that land. So their money is not worth anything right now as the currency. So you know, that's a good example of a country that currency, I forgot what it's called when your currency the rate gets so high that the money ain't really worth nothing. So that's why everybody is traveling for Venezuela. You got all these people trying to come to America because they're trying to get the hyperinflation that happened. Is you know what's going on in Venezuela right now, and that's a good example of a country that has currency has went to a point where it's not working. So I see we have one more person that has joined, Elder Ramesu.
I didn't catch that last part.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna catch you up to speed. I'm gonna tell you what we did was we talked about the definition of currency. So we read the definition of currency, what currency meant. Then we talked about the different forms of currency that you have. You know, like you got the dollar, you got the euro, you have the yen. Then we talked about we are just talking about the difference between fiat currency and commodity currency. And then what they say is fiat currency, you know, it ain't backed by nothing, but commodity currency is backed by natural resources or something. So that's where we at right now. And I was just talking about Venezuela, how their currency has got hyperinflation and to the point where the money ain't worth nothing. So they just using it in the street, doing anything with it because it really ain't worth nothing. That's where we at, Elder. I just wanted to catch you up. I did. Now I would tell you, I have 5 questions that I said that we was gonna tackle. And the first one was, what is currency? That's why I pulled up the definition of currency and let everybody see what the definition of currency is, so we all on the same page. The second question is, go ahead, Elder.
What was your definition of currency?
All right, well, I'm gonna share my screen and let everybody see it again. Let me share my screen. I just done a quick Google search. and, this is, and this is what I got that currency is. It says a system of money in general use in a particular country. And then it says, example that it uses that the dollar was a strong currency. And I was like, that's interesting that they said the dollar was a strong currency in the example they use. Right? And then the second definition has got the fact of or quality of being generally accepted or in use. These are two definitions that Google provided with the definition of currency.
I see. Okay.
So
I don't agree with it, but it's all good.
Oh no! If you want to add, come on, add on, Elder. That's why we got you here.
Well, like words are funny, right? Even if you take the S off words and you put it in the front, it's going to say sword, because words, they cut, and if you're not familiar with particular words, right, then you can get caught out there. Like, for example, we talk about law, right? There's what they call the law of the land, right? And that means that any country you go to, any culture, the law is going to be different according to the culture, according to the land. And then there's a war, the law of water, right, which is international law, right? And that's the law, right, that applies to everybody on the planet. And it actually applies to us when we go into the court system, right? Because we're under what they call maritime, admiralty law, right? Now when you look at that, right, even going into a judge sits on a bench, and a bench in Latin, right, is bank, right? And where do you find banks? You find them right at both sides of a river. And the water flows through there, right? So it says and water is directing the flow of the current sea. Current sea. See, because water is a conduit where energy is flowing. And it doesn't matter what country you go to, you have to understand how the flow of the water goes, because it's like a ship that goes on the sea, right? And all ships are named after women because they're carrying a precious commodity, So now the ship goes into the dock, right? And it has to show a manifest. And a manifest, is telling what's on that ship. No different than when you come down your mother's birth canal, right? And she's carrying a precious commodity, and she has to present, or they present to her, a birth certificate. And you came out of a delivery room. No different than when you go to the store, right? And they you want to buy something, and they give you, they tell you, well, we'll ship it, or we'll deliver it. See, because they use nautical terms, because not the term, for money in whatever country you want to go to, right, has to be currency, has to be water. Water flows. So that definition that was given in Wikipedia is probably a literal definition, but there's some esoterical definitions that a lot of us are not aware of. That's why when we go to court, in the court system, we get jammed up. But it's no different than, like they say, they put the lady in the middle of the water, and they call her the Statue of Liberty, right? And the reason why they call her the Statue of Liberty, and it's not the Statue of Freedom, because freedom and liberty is two different things. When the sailor goes to port and he has liberty for a day or two, right? He's not free. He has to come back. So that statue stands in the harbor in New York, right? And it's saying the Statue of Liberty. That means all those who are coming here have agreed by word, right, that they are citizens of the United States. They didn't say citizens of America, but citizens of the United States. Now, what's the United States? The United States is a corporation, right, that was formed in 1868, right? And all those that are part of that corporation, right, you know, it's a privately run corporation. That's why we have a president. That's why we have a secretary. That's why we have a vice president. Because all corporations have presidents and vice presidents. You understand? So now, what they're really asking you when they ask you, are you an American citizen? I mean, are you a U.S. citizen? What they're asking you, are you an employee of the corporation? You know, that's what they're really asking you. You see, and remember, in all corporations, right? All corporations, the president is selected. The president ain't elected. The president is selected. No different from Bush, Obama, to you know, this dumb guy in 45. What's his name? Trump. You see, but all that ties back into to currency, the flow of money.
I'm glad you're here to clean it up.
Yeah. You know, and you know, too many of us, you know, we don't get into the lawful aspects of, you know, like, you know, money, because we know a lot of us think that money is the fiat currency that we pass when we go back and forth to the store, you know, or we get on a plane or we buy a property. We think that fiat currency is really money, and it's really not, because it's not backed by anything. But what we have been led to believe, that money is gold and precious, you know, jewels, because that's what they told us in the Constitution. They said the only thing that we use for bartering is gold and silver. Where back home, and you know, and even here, you know, the indigenous tribes here, you know, we didn't use gold or silver to barter. You know,
Elder, we ain't got there yet, Elder. You're going too far. Okay, let me slow you up.
Okay. My apologies. My apologies.
Yeah, let me slow you up, Elder. But
Okay.
But since you brought that up, what I will do is we're gonna go into the fourth question. And the fourth question I had is, when did gold become the standard? You know, because we had a conversation on the show a couple of days ago where gold and, you know, cryptocurrency was brought up. So I said, okay, we're gonna do a show about currency so we can break this stuff down so we can get to the meat and potatoes of currency. And when did gold, this is the fourth question is, when did gold become the standard, meaning the standard form of currency that we all follow? So that's the question. Now, I'm going to be the first one to throw my answer out there. All right, I'm just going to throw it out there. My stance is not African. That gold becoming the standard form of quote unquote currency came from outsiders that came into Africa. That's my stance, and I can't elaborate more, but I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to state their stance. But that's my stance. My stance is not African. That it came from outside of Africa, and we adopted it once it came in. I would say that though. So I'm gonna mute my mic.
All right. Well, first off, I just want to say, Elder, you really dropped some jewels. I was just over here soaking it all up. I just wanted to say that, and I appreciate you coming on the show. So I learned a lot from what you spoke in that short time. But,
Thank you.
No problem, sir. No problem. But I pretty much, in a way, agree with you, Brother Stu. Because if you go back to a lot of ancient African economies, they were commodity-based economies, meaning that they were actually trading with actual tangible things or things of value. And one of the things that they traded, amongst other things, such as cowrie shells, like I stated, cattle, I said that earlier, was gold. And that's because gold on the African continent is in abundance. That's one of the reasons why. And also, the European was the only one who went out in the whole world searching for gold. If you remember when you're back in school, when they tell you about the European explorers, even though we know they were invaders and exploiters, but that's something different. We know that when they went to the so-called New World, they went in search of the 3 Gs: gold, God, and glory. They are the only group of people who went out to search for gold. The African didn't have to do that. In relation to the African didn't have to do that. When you ever hear about the African leaving his mother continent to go other places, he's carrying gold. He's not going to search for gold. Uh, as a matter of fact, around about 1311, I believe, over there in the Malian Empire of West Africa, that was a great mighty king. His name was Abubakar II.
Yo.
He ended up actually leaving his empire, which was on West Africa. And when he went, he carried boats of gold. So gold actually, he already knew the importance of gold as a currency, because he knew that no matter where I was going, I can have gold, and people could use gold for currency to trade me with other things. Now, in relation to the European, the gold standard was mainly used in about the 19th, early part of the 20th century. From the little research I did upon it, because the concept is new to me, but I tried to brush up on it because I heard what we had going on. But from what I can gather, it just seems that the rush for gold, or the things for gold, was backed by the profits from colonialism. Because during colonization, the European bled Africa dry for all of her resources, and gold was in abundance. And so during the time when after he done robbed Africa of gold, now he has so much gold, he can actually, as time goes on, he creates new economies. Economies change as time goes on. So from the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, or 1800s, age of colonialism, and then you start going into the 1900s, he's starting to do the gold standard because he's reaping the benefits of what he stole out of Africa. He has so much gold stored away in his mother countries, the continent of Europe, that he can just produce currency and can back it by the gold that he stole. So I do believe, with your brothers too, I do believe that the concept of actually having an entire currency based solely on one thing, that is European. That is greed. There's so many resources. Who are you to pertain what is valuable? That is European in essence. I'll have to agree wholeheartedly with that. Now, the African was the first to do it because gold is in abundance in Africa, but it just wasn't gold. He didn't back his currency just off that one single object. Like I say, there were other things that the Africans were doing and were using as forms of currency. And that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay. My point of view on that is basically something just like what y'all two brothers was talking about. I believe that the Europeans was really the actually ones that started with this currency thing. With basically trading for their goods and services. With the gold and silver. I mean, I hate to use this as an example sometimes because I don't believe in them books. But back in the time when everybody so-called believe in this Jesus Christ, them people was using gold and silver for, their goods and services. And you probably can even go back further than that time, when the Europeans was using gold and silver. And, just like the other brothers were saying, they basically stole all that gold and silver, from Africa. And we had adapted, that concept of using the gold and silver, for currency. So it was first started, you know what I'm saying, from the knowledge that I know of, it started from the Europeans, and then, you know, later on, the Africans, you know what I'm saying, adapted that. So that, you know, that's my point of view on that there.
All right, Elder. Brother Ramesu.
Like the brother just mentioned, he said he don't like to use those books to make that point, but I'm going to go there just for a moment. See, Yehoshua, whom most people are calling Jesus, son of Mary, right? When he was born, even though it's you know, a story that actually talks about the cosmos, but that's another story. But the three wise men, when they came to visit the baby Yehoshua, they brought gifts of frankincense and myrrh. See, because we were more into the substances that we can use as a conduit to bring about a spiritual either gift or protection. So we were able to burn frankincense and myrrh. That was the ability to keep these wicked spirits off the baby. Also, we burned sage here in North America. So it was those kind of gifts, you know, those kind of things that we used to barter. Goats were, you know, if you had a lot of goats, you know, or animals, you would be considered rich. And another example of that is Yaakov, whom people are calling Jacob. When he wanted to marry Laban, his uncle's daughter, right? Laban tricked him. And he said, well, if, you know, you work the land 7 years, you can have my daughter. And at the end of 7 years, he said, well, you can't marry the younger before you marry the older, right? And he wound up having the two sisters, Jacob, right? And he had one each of their maids. So the 12 children of Yaakov, or the children of Israel, right, were from 4 different women. So when he got ready to leave, right, he had a dream, and he took a stick as directed and stuck it in the trough. And all those that drank from that trough became spotted and speckled. We're talking about animals now. Now that story later on became Yaakov grafting the devil, or grafting the nature, you know, out of certain beings to bring forth the pale man. But that's a terrible story. But the point that I'm making is that it was about livestock, because all those that were spotted and speckled, he was able to take with him, because the livestock represented money. It was currency. It was real important. We didn't start worshiping gold until the European came, because they came from Europe, because gold doesn't grow there. You can't find gold in Europe. So when they came here, then they found out that there was gold on the western coast. That became the gold rush, you know, in the 18th century, 17th century, you know. So, but we've always had plenty of gold. You go back to the great empires in Ghana, the Ashanti Empire, the Malian Empire. You know, we've had gold was plentiful, so we didn't see it as something that we would kill over, you know, or that, you know, this was the standard to which, you know, or everybody wanted to, you know, to grab or hold on to. We didn't go that way. You know, our thing was simply, like the brother said earlier, cowrie shells, you know, weapons, you know, knives, staffs, you know, especially the Tar-Seti kingdom, they were great bowers, you know, they were archers. So, you know, if you wanted, you know, that type of weaponry, then you would be able to trade, you know, some of them, right, for maybe some goats, maybe some cows, you know. But it was all about what you had to offer that would be able to protect me and my tribe, you know, and my community, you know, from invading forces. But gold came, you know, became the standard later on, you know, and in fact, you know, like I said, the Tamahu made it a part of the Constitution. When they formed the Constitution here in America, we actually formed the Constitution, but they had some they had a little bit of input. And one of the things, like I said, we read the Constitution, it says the only vehicle that we use in this society for bartering is gold and silver. And of course, we've been taken off that standards back in 1933, and then back during the Nixon era in 1974. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Well, I will elaborate a little bit something that I didn't hear none of y'all say. Actually, in ancient Egypt, they did use silver. In ancient Egypt, they did use silver as a currency doing their barter system. They had a barter system where they was trading barley and beer. The common folks in ancient Egypt, what I've studied, they was trading, from what I researched, is that the layman folks was trading beer and barley as their trades. And they use silver for the difference in the amount. Because just because you trade something with one another, you may trade more something or less of something. So what I found out is that they did use silver as a form, but it was for the government, for the head of states, basically, where they was using silver. This is before the Greeks came in, actually, because the Greeks brought the gold standard into Kemet. But at first, it was silver that they was using, but they were basically based off a barter system, wherein they was trading goods with each other. It wasn't no standard that one was better than the other, but they did use silver to defend for the difference between the trades. I would say that because I didn't hear none of y'all say that, and I did research that, and I can pull that up to let y'all see that they did use silver to tell the difference from the other, to know, what I'm saying, over time periods they did use silver, but I never saw that gold was the standard in ancient Egypt until the Greeks came in. That's when they brought their form of currency into ancient Egypt. And it was kind of like a currency that they had in Greece. But with that being said, I do want to read the fifth question and let everybody elaborate. I do know that, because I never elaborated earlier when I said that I can elaborate. It was based off a barter system where they just, like Ricky was saying, that the elder was saying, they was trading goods with one another. So it wasn't no one commodity that was the main standard of this is the standard right now. Because if you look at the pyramids, when they built the pyramids, they put limestone on the top of the pyramids. So that tells you a lot in itself, the fact that they put limestone on the top of the pyramids to make the pyramids shine so big, so bright. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm just gonna move on to the last question. And we already done answered it, because the last question was, is this African, or did outsiders bring this concept to Africa? So we already basically answered the questions. So now I want to go into another question. It's dealing with cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency being another form of currency that the Talmud or the European has created. Because I also believe that they created the gold as the currency at which it is today, because we value gold. Why? Why do we value gold? That's a question I want to ask everybody. How about that? Let me just ask everybody to get their reason. Why do we value gold? Why is gold valuable to you today? Or if it isn't valuable to you, why is gold something that you value today? Where is this concept? Where is the idea that gold is valuable? Where do it come from? Is the price of gold manipulated? If it is manipulated, what manipulates the price of gold? So I just let y'all ask, why is gold valuable to you? And can the price of gold be manipulated? And I'm gonna mute my mic.
Don't everybody get quiet.
Yeah, Eric.
Well, I guess I got to go first because nobody ain't talking. All right. Why is gold? I guess you said important, right?
Yeah. Why is gold important, or why is gold valuable to you? And
Okay.
and can the price of gold be manipulated? That's the question.
All right. Why is the gold value? Well, I look at it like this, like this day and time, and it probably was almost about the same way back then. We use it for a lot of things. We use it for building computers and stuff like that. Certain different type of computers have gold in it, and you have it for like silverware, and people like it for jewelry and stuff. Make yourself look pretty. That's what I was told about gold in my company. You know what I'm saying? Everything with gold just looking pretty. So everybody like that shiny color, And the thing about it being manipulated, we dealing with like a stock market. And this stock market is what's making this gold really actually have this value. Because to say not value, but it has a price on it. Gold really doesn't have a price on it. It just has a value. But by it being into the stock market, it brings up a price. And by it having a price, being on the stock market, this is what's going to make it go up and down. So I don't know if that's a good thing there of explaining it, but that's the best that I can explain that there. And I'm going to pass the mic on.
Hey, Ricky, your mic is unmuted if you're still here. If not,
Yo.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now, bro.
Okay. Well, I believe that the actual finding gold valuable, that in itself is African. If you go back and you study Africans, even from the days of ancient Kemet, a lot of people like to focus on ancient Kemet, but if you go to the mother of the child, you're going down into Ethiopia, which is what the Greeks call it, the Talmud call it. Well, the original name for it is Kush. And there's a book by a sister, her name is Drusilla Dungy Houston. And she wrote a book called Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. And I'm going to see if I can show it to you guys here. It's one of the books that I own. And in the book, I can't remember which page it is, but in the book, she talked about how early writers were even saying that the prisoners of the Kushites were feathered with gold chains. So even a prisoner, even a lowly prisoner in the Kushite society was tethered and held captive with chains made of gold. Because for one, it's the abundance of gold. And it is like, as like the brother was saying, it is the shine factor of gold. If you go into a lot of medieval African society, such as the Malian Empire, and you go into, you study the advances of the Malian Empire, the first being, of course, Sunyat and Keita, the first mansion. And, but the main mansion that people want to talk about is Mansa Musa. And a lot of people mistake his nomenclature. They think Mansa is his name. Mansa is not his name. Mansa is his title. And then and Mansa means king of kings. It means sultan. It's a Mandinka word. And Mansa Musa was the 10th Mansa of the Malian Empire. The Malian Empire stood about 1235 to 1670 AD. So it was a medieval African empire. And it eventually ended up falling to the Songhai. But Mansa Musa, he also valued gold. He was a Muslim. And matter of fact, his pilgrimage to Mecca, which is what Muslims do, his pilgrimage to Mecca is a famous one. It was even noted by Arab historians that when he went there, he gave out so much gold on his charity route through Egypt that he threw off the economy of Egypt at the time. Because that's just how much gold. Said when he left with 200 servants, each carrying about 7 pounds gold each. He had golden rods, he had gold dust, and then him himself, he had gold rings, gold chains, and it was just him in general. Not just him, also the other Mansas who also believe in this gold representing royalty. If you go today, like the brother was saying, if you go into West Africa and you talk about like the Ashanti and what they like to call the chief, who are actually kings, I believe chief is just a misnomer to try to denigrate them, because they're actually kings of their kingdoms, of their villages. And they have gold that's been passed down from generation to generation. The gold itself can be hundreds of years old, and it has a spiritual value to it. So I believe that this whole concept of value in gold is African. Now, the greed of gold and the lust and the murder behind gold and just the atrocious acts behind gold, now, of course, that's the Talmud. That's not the African in his nation. And the only reason why we even have the fiat currency in African nations is because they're still controlled by their former colonizers. And as far as what manipulates the price of gold, I believe it's one. Because one thing about gold, no matter what happens, if you're in a place and there's some type of stability, you can always use gold, no matter where you are. Because gold is always something that someone could want. And that's what pushes an economy. Wants and needs, supplies and demands. That's what goes into, textbook of economics. And so gold is something that some people always want, amongst other precious metals, but especially gold. And I do believe this purely African in nature. The spiritual energy behind gold. Gold actually good at holding energy. There's metals that's good at holding energy. That's why every time you see an ancient African civilization, there's always gold to be found. Pretty much no matter where you are in Africa, it's purely African. That's my take on that.
Perfect. Brother Ramesu?
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, brother. You were right on point with that.
Don't you see I'm
You good?
I ain't muted.
Okay. Let me just say again, brother, eloquently, described, his take on, on gold and how we looked at gold. And by the way, that's a wonderful book, Drusilla Houston Dungy, right?
Yes, sir.
Excellent book. What happens is that because the world really wanted to grasp this gold concept, because you're right. It holds a lot of energy, and spiritual energy is what we want to achieve to self-actualize on this particular realm. The Muslims who came into Africa, some invaders and some, converted. One of the things that the Prophet Muhammad did was he informed his Sahaba, his companions, that they would be allowed to wear gold. But he put a limit on the amount of gold that they could wear. He put it to a signet ring. And he said that if they were traveling, you know, in a strange land, you know, the gold would be for anyone who would find them if something would befall them, and their death or and burial wouldn't be a hardship to anyone who would bury them, because they would be able to take that gold and give them a proper burial. But yeah, it was always seen and viewed, you know, through the eyes of the African, right, very differently. And you know, that old kingdom in Ethiopia, yeah, you know, they viewed gold differently than say those who came from the other side of the Nile, because you know there's two sides of the Nile. There's the blue Nile that come out of Ethiopia, but then there's also the white Nile that come out of Uganda, Tanzania, and they fork right in the middle of in Khartoum and Sudan. Now, there's and the interesting thing about that is that when you start looking at those kingdoms along the Nile, they were all kingdoms that dealt with gold as a means of being able to barter. Gold was that thing that was happening on the Nile. So much so that there was a famine. There was a famine in Ethiopia just not too long ago. I would say the famine in Ethiopia go back to the 60s, and a lot of people would try to give you an excuse as to where that famine came from. But I'll tell you, there was a president of Egypt called Nasser, and Nasser, what he did was he cut the flow of the Nile off. So there were people in Ethiopia and Sudan where they were affected by the famine. And now they don't talk too much about this today, but they cut the flow of the Nile off in order to build a dam, and that dam was the Aswan Dam. And when he built that dam, you had hundreds of villages throughout that region that's now under the lake, what they call Lake Nasser. Right, so there's a lot of our tradition and our history that just we'll never know because it's under the lake. So I agree with the brother, you know, about Ethiopia and that, you know, the way they saw gold there. But you know, we didn't kill each other over it. You know, it's only the greed of the Tamahu because. It's shiny. They like shiny things, and you know, because we're in their mind, we like shiny things too. You know, because it represents wealth to us. It's no different than people killing themselves over Jordans. The only reason why they do that or they want a Jordan is because it's a name brand. And if you're walking around with $200-300 sneakers on, what it shows is that you have some money, you have some status within the community, within the hood. Because you're in the projects, but you can afford, you know, $400 or $500 sneakers. That's what it represents. That gold represents I got money. You know, I'm doing something you can't do. You know, and we learned that from the Tamahu. So we're able to kill each other, you know, over things that have no intrinsic value whatsoever. That's my take on it.
Okay, and I'm gonna chime in real fast. The reason I asked the question because, you know, even though they had gold and Kush, he stated the fact that slaves had gold, and they was. Did you say they was chained with gold chains? Is that what you said? So
Yeah,
the fact that they're chained with gold chains lets you know that they didn't look at it as valuable. They used it because it was a metal that was able to chain people. You gotta understand the smoking iron process in Africa. Well, I ain't gonna get into that right now, but you gotta understand that, like, the fact that they use that doesn't mean that they looked at it as it was valuable. They use it just as it was a commodity that can be used. It was something that was able to be used at their time. But I don't see the fact that they used it to change slaves as saying that it was something that they thought was valuable. It was something that they would just to use. Because at that time, our thought process, what was valuable to us was everyday lives. What we needed to survive, that was valuable to us. You know, we didn't look at like even metal. We didn't look at metal as precious. It was just what we needed it for. We had abundance of everything. So whatever we needed, we used to do. But for me, when I asked that question, can it be manipulated? Yes, the price of gold has been manipulated, and it's going to continue to be manipulated because of the stock market. Like Eric said, it's on the stock market, and they manipulate it. And this is why they birth cryptocurrency. So I'm leading y'all somewhere, and I hope y'all following me. Because I'm leading somewhere with this now. They birthed the birth of cryptocurrency was so it cannot be manipulated by Wall Street. That was the purpose of cryptocurrency, is to remove the manipulation by Wall Street, big banks, those with money, because you can't buy it all to manipulate the price of it. That's why cryptocurrency was birthed. But I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. I don't know. I ain't gonna go there yet. But that's why cryptocurrency was birthed. So my purpose of bringing up this in cryptocurrency and it being manipulated is, I feel like currency in itself is a European-made thing. That's my personal opinion. I believe that currency in itself, I want to say it's not African. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say not African because in the destruction of civilization by Chancellor Williams, he talked about the Asiatics that was coming in and before the time book, you know, and they was destroying stuff too. But I'm gonna say outsiders of Africa, currency, I don't believe that it was African made. And I believe that cryptocurrency is another form of currency that was made outside of the African thought process. And by being made outside of the African thought process, it's going to replace the first currency that they came up with. That's what I actually believe, that it's going to replace the original currency, whether you're talking about fiat currency or whether you're talking about currency that we consider purported that's backed by gold. Y'all didn't answer my question. I asked the question, why do we say gold, why we think gold is valuable? Why do you say gold has value? The reason why, because we accept it. That's the answer. The answer is because we accept that it has value. That's the honest answer. We all accept that gold has value, so therefore gold has value. But if we all say it don't have no value, if we all decide to say, guess what? Gold ain't got no value to me, it ain't gonna have no value then, because we not gonna want it. I'm not gonna, if I feel like gold don't have no value, I don't want you to give it to me, then the value of gold is gonna go away. The reason why it has value is because we accept that it has value. And that was the answer, but I see don't nobody want to be honest. I'm just be real with y'all. That's the answer. But go ahead, Eric, chime in. I know you want to disagree. That's why
this is Rick. I don't want to disagree with you. I just want to chime in to what you're saying. You know, and I stated it earlier, you know, about gold being manipulated. Like you said, I agree with that 100%. Gold is only valuable because, like you stated, it's accepted currency. And I also agree with you. I never disagree with anything you were saying. I just gave my different take on how I felt about it because I didn't really understand it. I thought you was talking about me personally. But
not you, Ricky. I'm talking about Eric. I'm talking about Eric, Ricky, not you. It's Eric, bro.
Okay, all right. But
Finish, bro.
All right, okay. My fault. I ain't mean cut nobody off, man. I'm sorry. But then I wanted to go back to what you were saying about how I was saying about in the wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire about how the slaves were feathered with gold chains. Now, I meant that to show the abundance of wealth, abundance of gold that's in Africa naturally. Now, of course, like we were talking about earlier, like the elder said, with the law of the land, of course, the law of the land changes, and as time goes on, things change. But if you go to the western coast of Africa, of course, they're going to feel a different way about gold than, say, Cushites on the eastern coast of Africa. Because I stated that a lot of the gold that you see, what they like to call traditional chiefs of West African villages wearing, has been passed down from hundreds of years. It has its spiritual value. It has its generational wealth value because it stays in the family. It stays in the lineage. So in a way, the coveting or the holding precious of gold in itself is African. Now, I believe that. Now, I'm not here to disagree with you or dispute you because you have your beliefs like I believe mine. But it is African. But the fact where you actually impose it upon others and have others apply to this same standard that you're living, such as the gold standard, now that in itself is not atomic. That is European. I just wanted to clear that up, brother. That's all I wanted to say.
That's peace, brother. That's peace. Eric, you gonna say something, bro?
You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, my reason for saying that we see gold as being valued is because the simple fact of, I know we all know this, you cannot destroy the gold. If you melt it, it's still gonna be the same. If it's in its solid form, it's still the same. So regardless to the fact if is in a liquid form or in a solid form, it still is gonna hold its value. It just can't be destroyed. So me just saying by it not being destroyed, that is one reason why I say that we look at it as being valued, because it's something that cannot be destroyed. Gold and silver, you cannot destroy it.
Elder Ramesu, I think y'all, am I muted? I think we may be having somebody else about to join the conversation in a minute or two. Maybe two more people, y'all.
Okay.
Anybody want to add anything? Okay, all right, well, oh yeah, yeah, I agree with y'all, man. I agree, as far as, the elder, you here now? All right, look like the elder might have lost connection. If you come back, we'll let him talk. But I agree with y'all. The imposing it on other people ain't African. But Africans, we have the right to use whatever that we have at our exposure to benefit us. That's our right. So, like, Ghana was named the Gold Coast for a reason, because they had abundance of gold there, and that is their right. If you have abundance of it, to use it however you see fit. So at the end of the day, I really don't have a problem with it. I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute. But the crypto currency that has been introduced, I feel like it has opened the door wherein it's going to try, again I said try, the purpose was to weed out the corruption. So our money cannot be manipulated by others. Whatever currency we use, if we use fiat, if we use commodity-based currency, if we use cryptocurrency, purpose of cryptocurrency was to move us further into the next millennium, and it's happening. At the end of the day, that form of currency is starting to be accepted, and that's what I mean when I talk about the perception that we have as people is what make currencies legitimate. The more we accept something, the more legitimate it becomes. The more we push back on something, the less legitimate it is. So as more people is accepting that form of payment, it's giving that type of currency more credits. It's giving it, it's seeming more credible and more people willing to say, well, hey, Starbucks is accepting cryptocurrency now. So I can use cryptocurrency to buy me some coffee now. But what I hope we can one day get back to a form of currency or barter system that we can use as African Americans to help one another, wherein we can start back going and paying each other according to things that can benefit us both. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that if I let's say I fix cars, right? Let's say I'm a mechanic and Eric car breaks down and I go fix Eric car, right? And let's say my computer's messed up and Eric is a technician when it comes to computers. Instead of me charging Eric X amount of money for fixing his car, why don't I get Eric to fix my computer? And we work out the difference as far as the work. So it can better our relationships with one another. And we also would be able to use one another's services. And we should be using Black people services in general. But I feel like if we can find a way to weave in between the lines, that maybe instead of using currency as forms of payment with each other, that we can go back to a system where we're actually what we're paying each other will be benefiting everyone. So we can get back on a more of a, I think, of an African mindset. Because a lot of times we talk about we have to get rid of the white man. We think like the Tamahu. We think like the white man. We've been in America. We've been brainwashed. They done taught us we got to get conscious again. We have to regain our true identity and our true consciousness. But with that, the concept of currency has to come into play as well. The concept of money, that has to be something that we have to re-examine. I believe that we have to re-examine this from the lens of an African, traditional African, because the Africans on the continent, I believe that they're just as messed up as we are, and they just have their culture though. They actually have their culture; they can go back. But I believe as far as the way things is going, they're like in a situation similar to us. But they've lost their African minds as also. I believe that as well. And everybody can chime in, man. It's open. There's open conversation now. There's no more questions or nothing. It's just dialogue for a little while.
Man, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. About what you're talking about is nation building, because we got to realize that Black people, and that's one thing that that attracts a lot of like follows the Nation of Islam, because they were able to show and prove to black people at the most crucial time that we're a nation trapped within a nation. Now, whether you believe the Nation of Islam or not, I'm not pushing that. But what I'm saying is you have to realize that we're in America, but we're not of America. Because, of course, there's a lot of indigenous tribes of us who are already here. But as far as the U.S. goes, we're all seen as slaves over here or working class for the corporation. Going back to what the elder was saying. So yeah, so we're a nation within a nation, and if we're going to nation build, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Brother Stu. We do have to re-examine how we see currency and what we see currency as, because like you were saying, in the scenario you gave with you and Brother Eric, currency doesn't have to always physically be something tangible. It can be a service. If you do me something, a kind of I scratch your back idea of currency. Currency is whatever. Currency can be whatever the need of the situation desires it to be. And that's why I was saying that. That's why we were saying that, that the European or the Tamahu was the one who imposed, like he does with everything else. He imposes his will, because that's what a conqueror does. He imposes. Just like you were saying, Brother Stu, how the brothers and sisters over there on the continent are just as bad as we are. I believe that they're in worse shape. Because it's one thing if you're African American or Afro Latino or West Indian or Caribbean, Afro Caribbean, no matter you're black and no matter where you are, it's one thing for you not to know your history. But imagine not knowing your history and you're standing right on the ground where the history happened. That's the most atrocious crime. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe that that there's a lot of healing that we all have to do, and that we do need to link up with one another and ditch, the European or the American way of thinking, which, like a brother was saying, like the elder was saying, is corporate. The whole scheme and the whole layout and the whole purpose of a corporation is to make profit. And that's all America knows. That's all American knows, and that's all that we know. So I do believe, Brother Stu, if we're going to actually rebuild the nation and rebuild ourselves, we're going to have to ditch that and go back home with our minds with our traditional African, economies, resource-based systems, service-based systems, and, the barter system. I believe that wholeheartedly, brother. I agree with that.
My understanding of the Africans, we was doing trades, and from us doing these trades, that's what I see as the money system. Because from my knowledge of the Africans, going up and down this now Valley River, it was like the West Africans had things that the North Africans had things that the South Africans had, and the South had things that the North had. They both had what each other needed. And this is how they kind of like lived. The South people brought what the North people needed, and the North people brought what the South needed. So we really actually didn't needed currency. We was doing trades, and them trades was actually have us, surviving. Now, if we was to say something about us being conscious, I think that will be more conscious than anything dealing with this currency thing. Because, like you said, we're trying to get away from this European concept. So for us to get away from that European concept, I think we should be able to go back doing the trades like the Africans did back in the days when they was traveling that now Valley River.
Indeed. I agree with you, brother.
But until then, we need to stack gold.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
Oh
agree with
yeah.
that. I agree with
Oh
that.
yeah.
Don't look like that shiny stuff.
Yeah, till we get there, we need to get whatever commodities. But you know what? I'm surprised didn't nobody say that. But the most precious commodity is melanin, man.
That's
And
the most.
that's the most precious commodity that is out here right now.
That's good.
And we have that in us because that's what connects us to the Creator. That's
That's
what
good.
connects us to nature. That what makes us one is our melanin, man. And all jokes aside, that's the most precious commodity if we ever want to talk about a commodity. I
Yes,
believe
sir.
it's
That's good.
melanin, man. And that's just something I always thought. Cause right now they make synthetic melon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they making it and they sell it by the gram.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
so, it
Brother.
lets you. Yeah, go ahead, Ricky. Go ahead, bro.
Oh no, brother. I was just saying, like it's a drug. Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And and like they say that the now this is something that I've heard. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard it. I have to put that I've heard it out here, because I haven't researched it. But I know they say that what I was told is when the spaceships go out of space, it has to be sprayed with a form of melanin to even go out of the Earth's atmosphere. Now I've never researched this, so I'm letting y'all know I never researched it. This is what I was told. I don't know how true it is or not, so I'm just putting it out there that I was told this. I've heard this many times, but I don't know how true it is. But I do know that our melanin is why they want our hearts. I do know that when it comes to organ harvesting, they want the blackest brown, the blackest, darkest person that they can get for the simple fact of our melanin. And the melanin, not only does it affect our skin, it affects our organs and everything. So at the end of the day, the melanin is that's really the most precious commodity of all.
You hear me?
Peace. I see we got brother Cam. He done joined us. How you want to introduce yourself? Say anything to the family, man. Say hi. Say peace. Chime in.
Y'all hear me?
Hear you
Loud and
loud and
clear.
clear.
Yeah, man. I'm late and overslept. Been a little under the weather, but peace to everybody.
Peace.
Hope we on code. Rob by brother. I hope we on code and everything. Hope we ain't arguing, because whether it's gold, Bitcoin, land, whatever it is, it's better than investing into the strip club every weekend. It's better, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So you know what I mean. You can, so instead of arguing about what's better, gold, silver, land, dick or pussy, whatever it is, man, we need to be on code. At least the brothers trying. At least people out here trying. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And we need to be investing in something. So it's good to talk about it. But you know how we get here as brothers, and how we are over here. I'm right, you wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
no,
we need
we
to
don't.
connect. We need to connect, brother. That's all I'm saying. We need to start connecting and do it in a friendlier manner. You know what I mean?
We all on code over here, bro. We on code.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good,
Yeah,
good, good,
we
good.
on
Okay,
code.
okay, good. Okay,
You want to
I'm done.
chime in? You want to chime in anything? Y'all want to chime in on Ricky? You know what I'm saying? Any of y'all want to say anything? Y'all can. You know what I'm saying? Go right now. Just open mic, man. We're just talking, bro. Just talking and building right now.
Yeah. I wanna. I agree with what you were saying about about melanin being the most precious commodity. Even if you think about the Ma'afa, our enslavement, that's what drove European economies through the roof anyway. We were the first stop. Melanin bodies. Then if you think about it as far as what you were saying with the organs, of course, our genetics are superior to theirs. That's what you go back to what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing was saying. That's their supreme fear. Everything that the Tamahu does is fear based. That's why when a cop shoots a young black man down, what's the first thing he says? I feared for my life, and the judge lets him off because they live in fear. Everything they do is fear based. And Dr. Francis Cress Welsing states that comes from living in the ice. I also got a book here about this. Now, this is about Tomahawk. Sometimes now, in order to know the Tomahawk, you have to get works by the Tomahawk. I'm gonna show this. Maybe y'all can get the camera right. It's called The Iceman Inheritance, Prehistoric Sources of Western Man's Racism, Sexism, and Aggression. And it's made by a Tomahawk man called Michael Bradley. And in it, he talks about how basically, the Neanderthal or the descendants of the Tomahawk, the ancestors of the Tomahawk, of the modern day Tomahawk, how they were living when they went in the ice, and just their surroundings and their conditions made them violent. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing would say, that when the Tomahawk would first get out the ice and he would get out his cave, the first thing he had to go do was kill something, because it was so cold in the ice, no food could grow. When you can't get vegetation, you can't get sunlight, there's no food growing. Nothing is growing out the ground. So what you have to do, you have to kill the weaker creatures. And so that's why, Tomahawks today, I believe, what dies down, that's why they have a love of meat now. And so by them living in that ice and them being melanin recessive, their organs and their genes, when they lost their melanin in the ice, that made them genetically inferior. And so everything they do is fear-based, and they always trying to get our organs. And I want to say, all the brothers out here, if you see black children, man, if you out there in time of the night and it's like 9, 10 o'clock, man, and you somewhere and a child looking lost, man, don't be scared to, or don't think anything of it to go over there and try to make sure that the child is safe, man. Children go missing every day of the week out here. It's sad, man. I just want to say, us as brothers, we got to step up, because our women are going missing too. Our women and our children, they're taking our most precious commodities away from us right there before our eyes. And and like the elder was saying, we out here dying over Jordan, killing each other over Jordans and stuff like that. Meanwhile, our precious commodity, our woman who produces our children, and our children themselves are being taken from us, snatched from us, organ harvesting. Like you were saying, brother. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I believe in order for us to properly rebuild our nation, us black men have to step up and be the warriors that we are, and protect ourselves and protect each other and stop hurting one another. I just wanted to make sure I said that today, brother. That's all.
That's peace. That's peace, man. Y'all want to chime in? Cause y'all know me, I talk a lot, man. I'm glad Ricky here, man. Cause I talk a lot, man. So it's good to have somebody else, man, talking, man. So, cause you know what I'm saying? I was always taught it's good to listen, man.
Yes, sir.
Don't know one person got all the answers, and I'm a very astute man, and I love to hear wise words being spoken, man. So, Ricky, I'm letting you know, publicly that you invited to come up here at any time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you want to come, you got time, brother. You got a platform where you can come here and speak your piece, bro. I'm letting you know that.
I most definitely appreciate the love, brother, on everything, and I'll make good on that. Please believe me.
All right.
So what is the subject we on there right now?
We just talking, bro. We just talking. We just winding down. Something about African people, like we like we talk, like we have small talk in the beginning, then we'll talk about the subject, and then we have small talk before we about to get off. You know what I'm saying? We just talking, bro. We just building, man. And that's something about us though, that we've always done. It's inherited in us, and so I'm just giving everybody an opportunity to, man, to speak.
Right.
Speak their piece.
No, wise words is always spoken by the wise black man or woman or child.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, like current event. What about this real estate over there in Detroit and stuff, man? We were talking about earlier. The cheap stuff with lots and everything.
Yeah, I know one thing they was talking about. I was reading about the marijuana dispensaries, how they were showing the lines in Detroit and stuff, and there won't no black people. But I know they said the application fee was $5,000 just to apply non-refundable. And then,
Wow.
then the startup was 100K just to even start up. But I did see that there was some brothers over there on that. I think Chamillionaire. No, not him. No, he was on. Chamillionaire was offering money to black startup companies. But as far it was somebody in Detroit that was offering money to those that wanted to do their weed dispensaries. I forgot the amount. I saw that. I might can pull it up if somebody talk to find it. But you know, one current event that I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about? You said what's going on in Detroit with the buying the houses up.
Yeah, they got lots in Detroit, man, for $7 a lot, brother.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, power moves, man. You know, it's about pyramids now, man. You know what I mean? What can we do now? You know?
I can respect that.
You know, Cam, remember I was telling you that we need to buy us a small community, find an abandoned community. If we serious about nation building, that we need to find us a small community that's available. You know, like we got these small towns around here. Everybody know we like Lewiston is a small town. You got like little Kelford, little small towns like that, right? We can find an abandoned town somewhere and just start relocating there. If we serious, man, right? And we can build that. Cam, I know you've heard me talk about this before. We can build that small community up ourselves, man. We can move into a small community where you got communities where ain't no more than 25 to 50 people staying in that community. It ain't really no stores or nothing. You know, they go to other towns and stuff to shop. But if we serious, man, we can find us a small community, relocate there, buy land. You can get land, build you some houses, and we can start bringing business there. And like I was telling Cam, if we do that, that means that everybody that gets elected is going to be conscious. Like if we really serious, we at this point now. But you know, every time we do something, you know, we get backlash. You know, Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? They dropped the bomb on them. You got Move in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? They burnt Move down. You know, you got the Ansar Allah community in New York. You know, with Dr. York. You know, when they had all that land. Then when they moved to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? They took the land. So, you know, from history, we have seen that whenever we get on code, get us an area and start building it up, that our government finds a way to sabotage that. Now, I'm not saying that it's lost, but I'm at the point now where I'm ready to buy some land in Africa. While you talking about cheap land in Detroit, there's some cheap land on the continent. What I found out in Ghana is that these folks live off $100 a month. This is the living wage in Ghana, it's $100 a month. So $100 a month is the living wage. You can take $10,000 over there and live luxurious. Like if you bring it home $1,500 a month, you can go over there and live like you rich. But meaning that you can invest. When I say live like you're rich, I'm talking about investing and buying. That's my rich, is buying land, you know, and building empires. But you know, to each his own. I don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Do y'all think the time of us building our own communities and flourishing in America is over? Do you think that we can do that and actually protect it? See, there's a difference in building a community. The question is, can we protect it once we build it?
Now that's serious right there. That's serious. And my thing is this: I feel about it. I know a lot of people talk about. I don't know if y'all heard about the ADOS movement. You know, I've been hearing a lot of talk about that and how a lot of people, you know, certain groups, a lot of people, black people, disassociate themselves from Africa altogether. You know, and this is like a main tenet of like a what? I'm not saying all ADOS members, but what a lot of them believe from what I see and what I research is that they just see themselves within America. It's a Republican organization, And basically, it's just a lot of black people, you know, they don't see themselves as part of the African diaspora. They see themselves as American citizens. And I know it sound crazy, of course, because of course we all Africans, no matter where we are, of course. But if you think about the reason why they do behind that, you know, a lot of people say, you know, we built America, and it's true. And it's not just slavery. Black American inventions, you know, of course you hear about Garrett Augustus Morgan, you know, with the traffic light and the gas mask, and yeah, Elijah McCoy with the oil lubricator for the trains, Frederick McKinley Jones, the guy who created the refrigerated air conditioning unit for trucks, you know, basically revolutionized the shipping industry, you know what I'm saying? And a whole host of other things that I could go down that we've done that's contributed to American society. America is ours. It's as much ours as you know, the Tomahawk, because we put literally our blood, sweat, tears, our minds, and everything into America. But like you said, Brother Stu, whenever we try to just disassociate ourselves from the Tomahawk and make something for ourselves, that's when the Tomahawk, once again, he's fear-based. When we do that, we're seen as a threat because he knows that if we get ourselves together and we get on code and we start working for ourselves, by ourselves, then we will take over wherever we are. He knows this because he knows who we are. He knows who our ancestors are. Because he knows what his ancestors had to do to him to get us in the state that we're in now. So he already knows what he's up against. He knows that there's a war going on. And as long as we're behind these enemy lines, we're going to be a captured nation within a nation. So we're forever at war. As if you want now, I know the brother Cam, you was talking about buying land up in Detroit. Now I support that. And also what you were saying, Brother Stu, I support that too. But the only thing is, see, now there's aggression everywhere you go. Because even when you go into Africa, everybody's buying up African land, but the so-called African American. Everybody's buying up. Of course, the European is there. Of course, the Semite is there. He was there before the European. But now the Asian is coming in. The East Asian, like Chinese, they're coming in and giving all these string-free billion-dollar loans. Y'all been hearing about that? Those big billion-dollar loans in African countries with the fiat money, of course. That's why they can give you so much of it, because it's nothing. And then, you know, while they get to give them that fiat money, what is Africa doing? Mining the gold, the iron ore, the cobalt, you know, for the cell phone batteries, everything, the cocoa, all that's coming to make chocolate, all that's coming from Africa. Africa is the breadbasket of the world. And if we really want to get back on top, we do have to build up Africa. Because I see that the only way Africa's going to be saved is for her seeds to go back into Africa. Because like I stated, a lot of Africans, now I'm not throwing no shade, no African brother or sister on the continent. If they hear that, I don't want them to say that. Because our people over here are just as messed up. We all our people. So I feel when you family, you can talk about family without, and family shouldn't get mad. And the brothers and sisters in Africa, they're just as bad, if not worse than we are. And so we need each other. We can't be so many miles away and try to work towards the same goal. We need to be on code, and we need to get a base to protect ourselves. Because over here in America, we're getting killed out. Whenever we try to get something economically, it gets destroyed. It's like with the Immigration Act in the 60s. I can't remember the year, but when they started letting all those Koreans over here, you know, all the Arabs over here. You know, that's when every other race of people started coming over here, moving into our neighborhood, where they control the black economy. And so that's what's happening now. That's what's going to continue to happen. And if we do try to leave, I do believe it's going to be violence. So I do believe that our best bet probably would be to get ourselves together, try to get some businesses going over here in America. But the ultimate goal is to take our money and invest it in the soil in Africa and actually make our money work for ourselves and build a nation back home in Africa. That's what I believe.
And you know, I concur with you, bro. And I actually believe that the African Americans in America, we are the only ones that can save the continent of Africa.
I believe that.
Because we have been separated from the tribalism because they brought us over here and they mixed us all together.
Right.
So we don't have that tribal difference that they have on the continent. You know, when we first came over here, we probably did because we was, you know, from West Africa, different tribes. Right. But the Americans, the African Americans in America, we are a mixture of all them tribes together. So we don't have that tribal difference with us. We have been bred and We have been bred and made to save the continent. The question is, are we going to go over there and save it?
I got one thing to say.
Okay, baby.
How's it sounding?
No, you good, bro. You good. We can hear you.
One thing to say. When you go to Africa, Africa is a continent. You got Chad, you got Libya, you got South America, and you got all the. And when you meet these people, right? They don't say they're African. They say they're Nigerian. They say they Chad. They say somebody. They don't feel united. All of them is not real RBG over there, brother. This is a pipe dream, brother. We're not.
That's why I said
we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody, Stuart.
That's why I said we are the saviors for that continent. Listen to what I said.
Yeah.
I said the Africans in America, probably in some of the islands, in Brazil, the ones that left, we are the ones that's going to restore Africa, because those on the continent, they are still divided. They're divided by religion. Not only have they been colonized, they're just divided. You have some that's pushing this over there, that's trying to get them to wake up and, pushing this unity. They're trying to get rid of the borders. I think the brother from South Africa, I can't think of his name right now, but he's trying to push for Africa to get rid of having borders, because borders ain't something that was African. That's something that the Europeans, the Tamahu, brought there. But what I'm saying is, as far as saving Africa, I mean as far as reinvesting in Africa. The African Americans have the money. We have the money to reinvest in Africa. The thing is, are we going to do it? That's the thing.
Exactly.
We should invest in Africa, Asia, everywhere in the world. The whole world's ours. You're gonna be real for real. The whole world's ours, man.
That's most definitely.
Europe is ours. Europe is ours too.
But true,
I agree with that wholeheartedly, brother.
But we need to secure these natural minerals and resources first before we worry about potatoes and stuff in Europe.
Right. Right.
Get the meat and beans first before you start chasing the cabbage and stuff like that.
Right.
Let's get these gold mines and these diamond mines and stuff.
Right. And in a way, too, man,
something?
I want to add on to what Brother Stu was saying. It's not just about saving Africa. It's about saving ourselves. That's the only way we're going to save ourselves. The whole reason why we get treated, just think about it. No matter where black people go, even if they were already there, and if there's other people, there's people of other races there, black people get treated bad. That's universal. And like the Honorable Marcus said, that's the only reason why that happens is because we disorganized, we divided. That's the only reason why that happens. That's why, that's why we could go into a store and an Asian man start fighting our women. We just send there recording instead of helping them because we divided. But if we actually come on one accord and get ourselves together, get away from all this division and work with each other and learn back how to, trust each other and how to, see each other as brothers and sisters, then that's the only way that we can build something that's actually going to last. And it has to be away from the Tamahu because he's violent. His nature is violent. And I'm not just talking about violent with, killing, and all that. If you look in the dictionary, there's multiple meanings of the word violence. But one meaning that I learned was that violence also means the distortion of truth. And that's flat out lying. And if there's any other man on this earth who's more violent and has distorted more truth than Tamahu, please tell me. So we have to get away from his violence, his physical violence and his intellectual violence. We have to get away from it and get ourselves together and maybe even come back like our ancestors did, like Hannibal of Carthage did, and go to bring the fight to the Tamahu. But actually tell you know what I'm saying? And actually get shit back together because America is ours too. But in order to even take America, we're going to have to get Africa right.
Hey, bro, Ricky.
Yeah.
I want y'all listening, man. You're right, man. But before we get to Tamahu, we got to get some of us too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
we made ones the way, man. I'm not trying to sound like a damn Uncle Tom, all this bull crap. But a lot of us is the damn way, man.
Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It's
I
only
agree with
a
that.
few percent of us, the 5% say, man. It's only a few
Yeah.
percent. It's really 1%. It ain't even 5%. It's 2% maybe that think like us, man. The rest of
Yeah.
us, maybe 3 or 4 now, 'cause people waking up, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
really it's only a few percent of the people, man, men and women, that's thinking like us on this whole damn this whole damn universe, this whole damn earth. So we not all that together, bro. A lot of our enemies are our own people, man. You know what I mean?
It's
With the
sad.
mindset, I mean, it's sad, but we're not going to be able to save everybody, man.
You right about that. I
We can
agree
only
with that.
get, like the Bible say, to quote the word of 144,000. That's all
Mm-hmm.
we are, bro. That's all we are. I mean, we're more than 144,000, of course, right? But that's all we are. But we can grow, you know what I mean? But majority of our own people, man, I hate to say it, in Africa and North America, are our enemies, man, when it comes to our mindset, man. You make a smoke a blunt with them, you make some money with them, go to work with them, or go party with them. At the end of the day, they don't feel the way you feel, man. The way we feel.
That's facts, brother. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You know, I mean, come on, man. We're
That's
gonna just be a martyr, man. While every day still partying, going to Popeyes, man.
Frying over chicken
Martin
sandwich.
Luther King, Martin Luther King died. Guess what? They still going to Popeyes the day off. Malcolm X died. Dr. York got locked up. What are these niggas still doing?
Hell on.
We RBG more than Africans are, man. We held down Haile Selassie more than Africa held down Haile Selassie. We held
That's
down
on
Marcus
everything.
Garvey more than Jamaica held down Garvey.
That's on everything.
Come on, man. So we
Eric,
can't
don't
get
do me here,
everybody
bro.
woke, man. You can't get everybody woke. Let's get it real. We get the people that we can get, and we do our work ourselves, man. And it's about our own little small island. Get away from this damn world, man. Or
Man,
somewhere.
I'm with it. I agree with that, man. I
I
agree
mean,
with
it's
everything
crazy.
you said.
What do you think, Eric?
Well, you know, it's a big problem right here in the United States. You know what I mean? That we as melanated people, you know what I'm saying, really can't unite with each other. And I think that was a affliction that started from Africa and then came over here and seemed like we just can't get straight. But I feel if we can get the brothers to get together here in America, then we can start moving over there to Africa and try to straighten out Africa. But, you know, just to jump and go over to Africa, I don't think that, you know, things is going to be straightened out if we was just to go straight over to Africa. Because the same problem that we having over here is basically about the same problem that they having over there in Africa. And we have to start uniting some type of way. And this platform really actually is the beginning part of it. Because even though that, you know what I'm saying, we just, certain people, you know, they do local, then we have a lot of other people that do international. So we as the international ones, we are really affecting a lot of the people. I mean, really reaching out to a lot of the people. And by doing this platform here that we have now is a start. So I'm hoping and praying that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people that hear this, you know what I'm saying, it will bring a change. And maybe we can start doing something for ourselves. But we so much adapted to this European concept, and it's kind of seemed like it's hard for us to come up out of that. Even though that we are woke, you know, some of the people that say that they are conscious, even we still going against each other, you know what I'm saying, from conscious people. Because the conscious community, as far as I know, you know, what they call in the conscious community, even they fighting amongst each other. So if they fighting amongst each other, how conscious are we? So we got to come to some type of agreement, you know, and stop playing this European concept and really become conscious, because conscious to me is like we all coming together as one. And until that time we come really conscious, then we can start building, you know what I'm saying, something for ourselves.
I think the sister that was up here, that's from the she was a Muslim. She would carry bar. She said it best. She said, when we in the front yard, we need to be united. But when we in the back, we can deal with the problems then. It's kind of like what we done today. Like we talked about a subject. We might not all have the same thought process on this subject, but we just talked about it. And at the end of the day, we're not divided because of the subject. It was just a subject, something that we just talked about. But at the end of the day, that's all it is. We're just discussing and ironing out our difference. That's what makes everybody unique. That's why we all individually are gods, because we all have our own experiences that we all go through. And that dictates how we are, depending on how we have lived. And that's what makes the human experience what it is, because we all have to walk our own footsteps. But in us walking our own footsteps and arriving to our own conclusions, we should be able to still sit down, analyze, even though from my lenses and your lenses, how did we arrive to this point that we need to arrive, and use whatever strategies that we all use to get to the finish line. So just because we going to the same place don't mean we have to take the same route to get to the same finish line. But once we on the way of where we going, we can use information from all of us that benefits all of us to help us get to the finish line. So we all have answers. We all have parts to this puzzle. We just got to all come together and eat the meat and spit out the bones. It's that simple. We eat the meat and you spit out the bones. We can take what we can take from one another to better our struggle. Because at the end of the day, the liberation of our people is our goal. If that's your goal, then obviously we have to understand that we have to stay on code. Certain things we can and certain things we cannot do, and it's a time and place for everything. You don't put all your strategies out in the open. Now, everybody ain't gonna get on the bus. You know, some people are leaders and some people are just followers. It's in your DNA. Everybody ain't meant to lead. Everybody ain't meant to follow. So those that are meant to lead need to be leading, and those that are meant to follow will follow. Because a lot of times we like to follow hashtags. We're the type of people is that once something seems popular or it's the new thing, everybody want to jet to it. Okay, so we understand that Black consciousness and us being free is our objective. Then we need to lead and make those that's willing to follow come along, and those that's not, we love them. We care about them, but we just have to love them from a distance. We have to care about them from a distance. They can't be privy to our serious conversations when it comes to our liberation, because they're not a part of it. So we have to learn to weed out those that are not no good to us. But it's a process, and I think this is part of the process, y'all. And I thank all y'all for coming. What I'm gonna do is I'm about ready to close out, so I'm gonna give y'all all the opportunity to give y'all any statements. You know, close out and tell people where they can follow you, what businesses you do. You know what I'm saying? If you got anything that you got going on, you got some Facebook pages. You got anything that you want people to follow you and link up with you, you can give your information out to them. And, you know, just let them know what y'all have going on. But I truly believe in the hearts of my heart that we are pushing this thing forward, man. We're pushing it forward. And, you know, the ancestors, like you said, Eric, when we spoke yesterday, you said it was a reason why the ancestors had us speak. It was a reason why. The ancestors put people in our circle for a reason. We're here for a reason. There's a reason why we think in the way we think. And what we have to understand, I'm gonna give y'all a quick example of what's going on, and then I'm gonna let y'all close out, because you know I'm about ready to preach. If I was a pastor, if I was a Christian, y'all would call me Pastor Fields. Y'all look at example, man. All right, look. When I went to Danville, Virginia, a couple months ago, you know, I had to go up there for some court cases, whatnot. So while I'm in Danville, now we're in the courtroom and we sitting in the lobby, right? So other people that got cases is coming in, but now we was up there for a custody battle. I'm gonna put that out there. I don't mind putting that out there, right? So, but it's other black people in the room for us, and we all waiting to go in court, right? So while we're in the room, they are talking about what they're doing in Danville. They're talking about, now mind you, they don't know who I am. I didn't tell them who I was or nothing, but they talking about how the black children in Danville are not confident in themselves. This is what they're talking about while I'm in the room, and how they got summits set up where they're gonna have some real dark models coming in, because the confidence of the children was low because they think they got nappy hair. You know what I'm saying? They think they gotta be skinny, a certain perception. So they talking about black power things while we there. And they talking about how they give back to the community, how they got little summits, and you know they cutting grass, and they talking about all the stuff that I'm actually doing down here in North Carolina with our organization. Now, mind you, while I ain't saying a word, I'm just sitting back astonished. But what that told me was, we ain't the only ones, y'all. It ain't just us. This thing is global with us waking up. It's everywhere. It is everywhere, family. That's what I got. That's what I got from them. It's going on there too. And it's happening, man. And we are a part of it. And we need to accept it, embrace it, and play our part, man, because this thing is happening, y'all. It's happening all around the world. And with that, that's my ending. And I give y'all the opportunity to close out.
Yeah, well, I just want to end the note by saying I appreciate, Brother Stu, you extending the offer for me to come up here and engage in this discourse, and I really enjoyed it. I appreciate all the brothers out here, who gave input, who listened to what I had to say. I want y'all to know I listened to what y'all had to say, and I walked away from this, a better man than I was before I took the phone call, and a better learned man too. And I do believe that, we do need to get together. And I just want to say that now. We do need to stay on code. And I want to go back to what Brother Cam was saying. He's absolutely right. Now, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So there are a lot of black, white devils. I know that might sound a little strange, but there are black devils as white people in blackface. And they'll do anything to maintain the system. White supremacy is like a drug. They get hooked on it. And we just gotta leave them behind, man. And if need be, if you're really trying to rebuild a nation, hell, you might need to take somebody out, when it comes down to it. But we need to stay on code. And like you said, Brother Stu, we're not the only ones. I'm glad I took this today. Sometimes, man, when you're trying to actually rebuild, your history and better yourself and liberate your people, like you said, Stu, that is the ultimate goal, is liberation, not just of yourself, but of all African people. That's the ultimate goal right there. And we do need to work together with that. And we do need to link up with people who are like-minded. and who have, you know, that leadership mentality. And even though we all might not agree on stuff, we can all come together, learn from each other, work with each other to build. You know, we can't fall for the same traps, you know, that a lot of our ancestors fell for. You know, we just can't afford to. Maybe another race of people can, but we can't afford to. We have to get on one accord with those who are trying to get on one accord. We have to link up and get together. We just have to. If we don't, there ain't gonna be no more us. And y'all just stay safe, man, and take care of yourself and take care of the children, man. Peace.
Peace, peace.
All right,
Well,
Cam and Eric, y'all can close out. After y'all say what y'all gonna say, I'm gonna end the show.
I'm gonna say, man, peace to everybody, and the conversation was strong, and I hate that I came in so late, man, but I've been, a little down, whatever, a little tired, man. Just rest my body, working, school, all this kind of stuff, man. Um, yeah, we gotta it's waking us everywhere, man. But we gotta be careful because there's a trend out here too. A lot of people out here wearing unks. Ain't really there, man. Everybody's wearing I say costumes. You know what I mean? Ain't really because it's a trend, man. Like it was back in the 80s, 87. It's a trend, so we gotta be careful, man. People just doing it for a couple of years, and then they going back to the NWA, I guess. You know what I mean? Or going back to their filth. You feel me? So we gotta be careful with it. Because people wearing unks, man. Because people are the so-called woke community. You know what I mean? It's a trend right now, and you got a lot of infiltration from the people from the government and the state, not just government, the state and the local government. You know what I mean? That's perpetrating out here, man. So we gotta be careful with just with how we playing, man. Like you said, the code is a big thing, and each one teach one. But just be careful who you tell it to, man, because everybody's black, Israelite, more whatever. Ain't your friend. Melanoma ain't your friend, man. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. You know what I mean? Gotta be careful, man, because hey, they already got BIE out here and certain things. You know what I mean? Not saying be scared, not saying be a punk, cause I'm not. But just drop us the jewels, man. You know, we always gonna be that 1, 2, 3% in the way, man. You know what I mean? Everybody it ain't for everybody, bro. Especially in this day and time. A lot of people are Negro pins. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm gonna say, man. Y'all peace out, man.
Peace.
well, I appreciate what I'm saying, all of this time getting up here speaking and listen to the different other brothers' point of view on things. And like I said, this is a good platform for a lot of people to, get a lot of information on. And this could be a start of us uniting with each other. And yes, I do have a business. I'm a part of CAD Bars, and I do try to help people build wealth, but I can't make them. If they don't see and don't understand, I could try my best, to make them understand. Because my thing is, I really like helping people, but if the people, is not trying to take the help, I can't make them do anything they don't want to do.
Facts.
But like I said, I'm here to help the people grow wealth. And if you're interested, all you just have to do is just get in contact with me, and we can, get you started in building some type of wealth. And you can listen to some of these top leaders, and they can help you as well. So right now, I'm gonna just say peace and peace and blessings to all that's listening, and I hope we unite. Through the will of the Creator.
Respect. Peace.
That's peace, man, and I thank all y'all for joining, man, and coming up here, spending some time with us tonight. And I look forward to seeing y'all later. To everybody, make sure y'all follow NCRBGZ Productions on YouTube. The actual show, we're gonna post this tomorrow, so it's gonna be on the show tomorrow. Actually, I'm interviewing somebody tomorrow that made their own language. This brother has created his own language. It's gonna be on the show tomorrow. So y'all make sure that I see y'all tomorrow. And I thank y'all for coming, and with that, peace and black power.
Peace.
Peace.
Hotep.